Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Hey, this is Paul Moore, and I'm coming to you live from BiggerPockets TV. And so hope you are having a great day. Paul Moore here with my BiggerPockets bling. So excited to be with you today. And we are going to start out, we are going to talk about anything you want to talk about today. So we can talk about BiggerPockets, why I love BiggerPockets, why you should be a BiggerPockets Pro member. But first of all, let's talk about 10 reasons not to invest in real estate. Now you may think, wait a minute, I thought you were going to talk about why I should invest in real estate. Let's do a top 10 countdown of 10 reasons you should not invest in real estate. Number 10. Trading stocks reminds you of trading Beanie Babies, which you were definitely not crazy about, nor did you have a closet full of them. It's kind of reverse psychology. Number 9, reason not to invest in real estate. Would you hate it if you got a deposit of cash in your account for doing nothing? You would. Number 8, you like the control of investing in stocks and being able to personally and directly influence the price of Google or Apple stocks. Oh, wait. Where are we at? Number 7, you like being able to call up CEOs directly to ask about your stock values. Da-ding. Number 6, you like knowing that the moment you stop working, you'll stop making money. Number 5, reason not to invest in real estate. What if a tenant's toilet breaks? You would have to fix it yourself because you're the only person in the world who knows how to fix toilets, right? Number 4, reason not to invest in real estate. Everyone else seems to be investing in stocks and you like to follow the crowd. How's that been working for you as $4 trillion has been lost in the stock market in the last 3 months? Number 3, reason not to invest in real estate. The government seems full of nice, hardworking people who are doing a stellar job and you want to make sure to pay them as much tax as you can. Number 2, reason not to invest in real estate. You want all your money in one account because you can only remember a single username and password. Number 1, reason not to invest in real estate. People may suddenly decide that they don't need roofs over their heads or indoor plumbing or modern appliances. Hey, welcome everyone. I'm Paul Moore and it's Ask Me Anything Monday. So can you hear me? Whitney Sewell, can you hear me? Hey, Denise, where are you from? Hey, where are you all from? So let me know where you're from. Give me a thumbs up, a share, a like, a smiley face, some kind of a Christmas or Hanukkah symbol, something like that. I have no idea what I'm talking about. We're going to get to your questions right now. So if you are watching on BiggerPockets Live, I have a little bit harder time getting to your questions, so be patient. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube Live, we should be good to go. And here we go. Okay. So having a little bit of trouble getting to you on BiggerPockets Live, but I am excited to answer your questions. So Duke Marquis says, sharing with my private group for real estate investors, buyers, and sellers called Real Estate Immersion. Hey, Duke, thanks for joining us today. Basil's from Cape Town, South Africa. Welcome. Whitney says, I sound great. Whitney, do I look great is the question. That's the real question of the day. So my friends say I don't look a day over 40, but I'm pretty sure I do. Okay, enough comedy jokes. Emmanuel, hello, first time here. I know it's not time to ask you anything yet, but I'm going to start working in a few minutes. I don't know if you have time to ask a question. Don't judge me. Okay, so Emmanuel, what's the question? How can I get insurance that I'm not making a big mistake in buying at an auction? Which steps do I need to take to make sure it's worth it? Emmanuel, the quickest answer I can give you is get a mentor. Go to work for free, meet somebody at Starbucks, tell them you'll wash their dishes, you'll clean their toilets, whatever. Get a mentor, go on the weekends, evenings, go on call for them and let them teach you the business. I can't promise that. There's a lot of other ways to do it. Whitney Sewell will tell you that getting a mentor has been one of the best things he ever did, but you have to get the right mentor. And so Whitney and I both, we've both gotten mentors. I paid $25,000 for mine. I'm guessing Whitney's probably paid maybe more than that for his by now. I don't know, but we highly recommend you get a mentor. Emmanuel, if you want to reach out to me, seriously, I'll do a phone call with you and try to help you out on that. Thanks, Emmanuel. Okay, Chris says, what about seller financing, starting out this way until you can build some capital? So a great time to get seller financing is when you're trying to catch a falling knife. Now, Howard Marks and Warren Buffett talk about this, and that is having the courage, Chris D., to buy when the market is in a free fall. And so at times like 2008, 2009, when the market was falling and everything was going downhill, Howard Marks said he was buying $500 million in assets a week. And people said, wait, you're buying? And a reporter said, if not now, when? Well, I don't think that's going to happen again anytime soon. And I think if the market does take a downturn now and it does crash, it's not going to be as bad as that. But the best time to buy the best time to get seller financing is when sellers are desperate. Right now, they're not desperate. I'm just going to be honest. So if anybody else on here, by the way, has a better answer than me, I strongly encourage you. Zach Gwynn, if you have a better answer, jump in, my friend. Whoever has it, Whitney, if you have a better answer, tell me. But I just think it's a really hard time to get seller financing. It's a really hard time to find anything to buy. I've talked to several people today who just told me story after story about where they live and how hard it has been for them to find deals that even make sense. So that's what I'm thinking. So Glenn Paulson says, having difficulties with lenders with LLCs, thinking of increasing home insurance coverage in lieu of LLC for protection in the beginning of my investments. Glenn, have you tried putting it into an individual name and then switching it to an LLC later? Now you have to have lender permission to do that, but I did that with one of my investors yesterday. In fact, that was Sunday. He was asking me how to do that, and we actually got the lender's approval to move it into an LLC, which is very easy to do at the county or city level, but you have to get the lender to agree to it later. I don't know if that helps. Increasing insurance, I would definitely get umbrella insurance. So y'all, if you don't know what umbrella insurance is, that is when you get an umbrella policy over everything in your life. That means like a $1 or $2 million policy. It might cost you $300 a year, but it's extra level of insurance over everything else. And you can do that, especially if you're a landlord, you might want to consider it. LLC is certainly helpful as well. Whitney Sewell says it is very difficult to find a deal. Figure out how you can add value to someone that has a deal. That's a great thought. Kevin Steer, hello from Texas. Trevion Pacheco says, Boston, Massachusetts, any recommendations on commercial syndications? Trevion, I was just thinking about this, in fact, and I used to be so caught up in finding the right geography, whether it was Charlotte, North Carolina. Hey, by the way, shout out to Austin, Texas, the new Apple HQ2, I guess, and of course, DC and New York getting the Amazon HQ2 split. I used to be thinking about those kind of things, trying to figure out where is Amazon or Apple and all that going. You know what I've decided? I've decided for me, I would rather really focus on investing with a great operator. And so I'm looking for great operators because there are people making money in Sacramento and LA and Chicago and, Boston. I would really focus on finding a great syndicator and investing with them wherever they are, because there are people who know Atlanta or Boston or New York, and they know how to make money in those locations. It's a thing. There's a thing called a pattern buyer and a pattern seller. And I actually made those terms up, but I thought they sounded pretty good. I don't know. Thumbs up if you like that. But a pattern buyer is somebody who knows how to find off-market deals that are going to be very profitable. A pattern operator, I just added that, is somebody who knows how to take that deal and upgrade it, bringing up from like a class B plus to an A minus. That's kind of hard to do, by the way, or bringing it up from a lower income to a medium or higher income level. A pattern seller, so there's a pattern buyer, pattern operator, and a pattern seller. A pattern seller is someone who knows how to increase the level of an asset to a REIT level or an institutional level. I'm talking about commercial assets now, like apartments and self-storage and mobile home parks. And they can take it and they can expand it, they can professionalize it, and they can sell it to a REIT. Now, you may know this, the value of a commercial real estate property is the net operating income, the numerator, divided by the cap rate, which is the denominator. And if you don't know what all that means, you can go out and check it out. But the net operating income divided by the cap rate, if you can increase the income and decrease the cap rate, you've got a winning combination. And I used to think, you don't really have any choice about the cap rate. It's just what it is. And that's not true. You can definitely increase the income. There's lots of ways to do that. And these pattern operators know how to do that. But you can also, so you can buy it right, increase the income, but you can also decrease the cap rate. And here's how. You can upgrade from let's say, an unstabilized asset to a stabilized. They also calling it going from like an opportunity level to a core plus level. Okay, that's more the technical side. By doing that, you can decrease the cap rate. Now think about this. If you can decrease your cap rate from 7% down to 5.2%, which is kind of a normal spread when you go from a mom and pop owner right now to an institutional buyer on the other end of the transaction, that increases the asset value by 27%. Who wants 27% appreciation? Give me a thumbs up, a heart, or a smiley face. But 27% sounds like great appreciation, but it's better than that. That's not all you get. You also get the fact that leverage makes that 27% go up by 2 or 3 or even 3.5 times. So the actual increase in equity value is perhaps 70% just from buying from a mom and pop and selling to a REIT. Man, I am way off target. What was I even talking about? Sorry. So whoever asked that question, I hope that helped. But at any rate, Duke Marquis says, I want to find more accredited investors to network with. What are your best tips for finding people to do joint ventures? Duke, BiggerPockets. Being a BiggerPockets Pro member has been the smartest thing that I ever did. In fact, literally in my real estate career and in my entrepreneurial career, the best time I ever did, the best thing I've ever done is join BiggerPockets. The smartest upgrade I ever made was upgrading to BiggerPockets Pro. That's a great place to do that. Another place to do that is find a great mentor. There are 3 or 4 ways to find a great coach or mentor. Whitney Sewell is on Facebook Live as well. Whitney, if you can just kind of comment there and tell people 2 or 3 ways to find a mentor, that would be awesome. Whitney and I have been friends for a long time, and I know he knows this stuff. And so he's actually had 2 or 3 different mentors over the years. And I've had a couple as well. But I'm going to move on to the next question, let him answer that. Kevin Steer, if you're getting ready to sell an investment property, can you refinance it? Then sell it and avoid paying some tax because you're just paying back the mortgage. Kevin, can you give me an example? I don't know the answer. And that makes me wonder if I don't understand the question. I'm sorry about that. Just give me an example. Jonathan Lamont says, I have 10 grand. How can I get started in real estate? Jonathan, if you want to be a passive investor, I recommend going to a crowdfunding site. There's Realty Mogul, there's Fundrise, Realty Shares. I would avoid them right now. You guys might have heard about that. They're having some trouble financially, but I'd find a crowdfunding site and consider investing maybe $2,500 in each of 4 deals, or maybe $10,000 in a fund. There's a lot of benefit to like going to Fundrise or CrowdStreet and investing in a fund because they diversify the investment out across, let's say, 4 or 5 different assets, which is a huge benefit. That's where I'd start. Or you can also give it to a hard money lender to loan it out if you can find somebody who would take $10,000 and loan it out and give you interest on it. That's another option. Another option is to invest with my friend Dave Van Horn. Dave, if you're out there, give me a shout out, buddy. He owns a PPR Note Company near Philadelphia, and I believe you can invest in notes with him. It doesn't have the same tax consequence as other real estate, but it's a great way to get in. And Dave's a fabulous guy, fabulous company, somebody you can trust. Israel Chavez de Santiago, right time to do a 1031 exchange. Don't want to pay much capital gains. Israel, it's a great time to do a 1031 exchange if you're selling and you want to avoid capital gains. It's a really difficult time to find a replacement property. So a lot of people with 1031 exchanges these days are having a really, really hard time finding the replacement property that they want. And so you might find that getting the replacement property that you want for your 1031 exchange might be really difficult. So here's my advice. If you can, locate the 1031 exchange property before you execute the 1031 exchange. I know it's hard, but I'll tell you this, it's a lot harder afterwards. Even if you think you've got 2 or 3 lined up, trust me, it's very, very hard to pull it off right now. So yes and no. And I don't have any answers for that. I mean, I can't say, hey, call me up. I'll be a place you can invest that 1031 exchange. I haven't got anything. Krishnan Menon, hello, how are you? Beyond using LoopNet, CoStar, and BP website, do you have any other tools that you suggest to source multifamily? Yes, Krishnan, become good friends with brokers. I know it sounds like a cheesy answer, but become a good friend with brokers. Somebody just asked me something, and the question just slipped away on the Facebook site. My Facebook doesn't allow me to see, just scroll to see all the questions. And I don't know why. Zack, Gwen, maybe you can help me with that. But somebody asked, do you recommend buying properties from the county courthouse steps or auctions? Yes. I've bought most of the properties I flipped over the years from online auctions. Courthouse step auctions. And so I highly recommend that. Facebook, Whitney says, of course. Of course what? No. I asked Whitney to tell us how to find a mentor. To find a mentor, you need to ask others who have used different mentors. Get on BP and ask tons of questions about their coach mentor, about what they liked and disliked. What is the coach's track record? Are they investing now? How do you communicate with a coach? Are you paying for a specific amount of time, such as after a year? Is it over, or is it month to month after the first large payment? I talked to a guy on Saturday. I don't know if he's on here. I won't tell you his name in case his coach is on here, but he's super disappointed with his coach. And he said he can't even really get hold of him anymore. And I don't know how much he's paying, but you got to be really careful with this. Mian Pierre says, you skipped my question before Krishnan. Mian, that was the one I wanted. Can you please put that question back in? Because I can't find it. It was something about buying at an auction. Whitney says, I've also interviewed tons of coaches, mentors, on his podcast. Whitney, I forgot you had a podcast. I'm just kidding. I was just on there. Whitney Sewell as the Real Estate Syndication Show. And of course, he's not allowed to advertise, but I am. I can tell you it's a great show, and he's interviewed lots of coaches and mentors. So if you're looking for a coach or mentor, check around BiggerPockets, ask around. Also, check out the Real Estate Syndication podcast. My mentor was $25,000 flat fee, and I've got a lifetime subscription. Why did I just want to say a lifetime subscription to Issues? It just sounded funny. I have no idea what that means. But anyway, they've been great. Okay, Mian, thank you. Joseph says, if I buy a tax deed on a property that is behind in property taxes, I still don't own it. I need to get a lawyer to foreclose on it, correct? Joseph, there's different states that one has, some states have a waiting period, and I think you automatically own it after that waiting period. And then other states, I believe there's a foreclosure process. And I don't know if anybody on Facebook, especially or the YouTube side, can answer that question. That's great. Again, the question is, if I buy a tax deed on a property, I don't own it, do I still have to foreclose? I would love to hear the answer. Noah Hollister says, can you talk about using leverage versus buying with cash, risk or no risk? Noah, be really careful with leverage. If you don't use it, you're leaving a ton of money on the table. I'm looking at investing in a deal in Orlando, Florida right now, and the guy was just going to do it with cash, and he was showing a 9% annual return and a 70% return at the end of 3 years. That's pretty good. But if you leverage that, I think his 9% would be more like 13% per year, which makes it really interesting. And the 70% would be more like 125% return in 3 years. Using leverage makes a ton of sense. Of course, the risk goes up in a downturn, especially if you're investing in places like California, Florida, Nevada, and Arizona. The risk can really go up. That's where you make a ton of money, but you can also lose money. Noah, if you want to ask me a more specific question, feel free. Kevin Steer says, if you buy a rental property 10 years ago for $100,000, and let's say you put $50,000 in the rehab, now it's worth $300,000. Can you refi 80%? So that would be $240,000, and then and sell it for $300,000. Would you have to pay tax on the $90,000 appreciation that the mortgage covered? Yes. So here's the thing. The mortgage and the basis for this capital gains, that's a great question, by the way, Kevin. The mortgage and the capital gains are kind of unrelated. So your capital gains basis, so the benefit of refining is you get to take a whole bunch of the profit out tax-free, okay? Meaning there's no tax on it. Like when you refi a house, there's no tax at that time, right? But at the same time, you are paying some money for those fees for that refinance. And so you're losing thousands of dollars when you do that. And you're not getting any benefit of the taxes because the capital gains basis is still the same. If anybody out there has a different thought on that or wants to correct me or argue, that's cool. Mian Pierre says, thoughts on buying land and purchasing mobile homes. I've owned 4 mobile homes in my life, and 3 have been disasters. The only one that wasn't was a family member, and that turned out good. I didn't actually charge any rent, so that actually kind of helped. But the other 3 were disasters. I would not own a mobile home. I'm a huge fan of investing in mobile home parks. That's land, driveways, electricity, water, sewer, signs, very, very small amount of infrastructure. You know, the annual capital expense budget on a mobile home park is only like 3%. It's the lowest of all 7 or 8 asset classes I've ever checked. But mobile homes are, in my opinion, a nightmare. Some people say they're little metal boxes who spit out money. I don't think so. In fact, all the mobile home park owners I know say that when they get a mobile home that they end up owning because someone walks away from it, they get it out of their name as soon as they can, and they get it to somebody else. The maintenance, the hassles, the headache are huge. But owning a mobile home park is significantly different. All right, so Nick Procuto on BiggerPockets says, should I start in the bad area of Sacramento to look for better deals? Nick, Sacramento's killing it, man. Like 9% increase in rent last year, top in the nation. I have found, just like mobile homes, anytime I invest in a bad area of town, it becomes a nightmare. And a lot of people who invest in bad parts of town, not all, but a lot of them end up quitting and going out and doing Amway or something. Did I say that? A lot of them quit and they go do something else. And so I would not invest in a terrible part of town. It'd be better to get a great operator, or if you're investing yourself, to find a lower profit property in a better part of town. That's my opinion. Love to hear you guys argue with me. Israel says, questions to ask a CPA to see if he knows what he's doing. That might be beyond the scope of this. See if they call you back. I was just telling my friend today, I said CPAs are notoriously bad sales and marketing people. And if they even call you back, that's a really good strike in their favor. Oh gosh, I just offended so many people. I'm going to take a drink from my... Did I show you my BiggerPockets? Isn't this cool? This BiggerPockets thingy here. What are these called? Anyway, I'm sorry I just offended everybody that is a CPA or plays one on TV. Honestly, if you're a CPA or an IT person, by the way, go become a great marketer. Get a really cool business card. Get a good logo. Call people back. Keep your word. Show up on time. you're going to be way ahead of everybody. Okay. So if I offended you, I'm sorry. Jeff Obert says thoughts on using a HELOC to purchase a rental property. I'm a huge fan of that. Yes. I've done it so many times I lost count. That's basically taking home equity line. By the way, the calculation of your cost of capital is whatever interest you're paying. So if you're paying 6% interest on your home equity line right now, and you can invest in something that makes 15% return, which there are a lot of things out there that will, you just made a lot of money. One of my investors in our real estate fund, he only borrows money to invest. He borrows it at like some ridiculously low rate, and he invests. And so it's a pretty cool strategy. A lot of smart people do it. Joseph says, if I have an owner that has a mortgage and he's behind in his mortgage and he sells it to me, then I pay up his back payments. What are the chances? Okay, Joseph, that's a great question. What are the chances the bank will find out and force a due on sale clause? Use a land trust. Take the property. Have the owner put the property in a land trust. The land trust shields the ownership name. That's allowed. By the way, get an attorney. Do not take my advice for this. I've done this at least a dozen times. That doesn't mean you should do it. It doesn't mean it works in your state. It doesn't mean it will work for you. But what I'd recommend is put in a land trust. In the land trust, you transfer the beneficial interest or whatever over to you. And then now you make the mortgage payments. Don't pay them. Pay it straight to the mortgage company from with money orders or whatever. And I have never one time seen it trigger the due on sale clause. In fact, I've heard that it cannot trigger the due on sale clause. But let me be really clear. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not representing BiggerPockets here when I say this. And I'm not sure it'll work for you. It worked for me really well. Okay, I hope that made sense. Use a land trust. Oh my goodness, I am so far behind on questions here. We're never going to get done at this rate. Okay, I'm going to have to cut this off at some point. Emmanuel, thank you. Michael says time consuming. Michaela says, what are your thoughts on investing in an area that's across the country you're not close to? Michaela, be really, really careful. Go see the place in person. I've got stories. I could show you pictures of times I've been there in person and found all kinds of things that weren't really correct. Paul Archibald says, thoughts on flipping or renting in 55 plus communities. There's a 55 plus mobile home investor that says they've never had a problem collecting rents from mobile homes. Mobile home park is what I meant to say. It's a great idea. Is Las Vegas a good place to start investing? Las Vegas, actually, is it Henderson or Hendersonville, whatever the neighboring town is? They're getting an enormous number of new healthcare facilities and IT people and all kinds of jobs. It's a great place to invest. I think it's Henderson, Nevada. I was just there, and it's a great place to invest. I'm a big fan. I'm not a fan of Vegas, by the way, itself. But I think it's a good place to invest. Don't get too high of a leverage because Vegas has had huge ups and huge downs in their pricing during recessions and good times. Michaela says, what are your thoughts? Oh, you already asked that. Also, out-of-country vacation homes. I'd be really careful with out-of-country stuff. Now, my friend Kathy Fetke with the Real Wealth Network has made a lot of money in Costa Rica. But when you get into exchange rates, you're adding a completely different level of risk. I know people that have done it and made a lot of money. Some of them in Costa Rica, but I know some people who have lost money. Alps 23, best advice to find a good contractor in New York. I'm going to throw that open to the group. If anybody can answer that, especially on the YouTube side. I don't have an answer. I heard it's really hard to find. Carrie Jr. says, hello from Indianapolis. Hey, Jimbo. Hey, plant-based nurse. Plant-based? Hey, I'm plant-based. I love eating that way. I've been a lot healthier. And look at my hair. It just looks amazing, doesn't it, Whitney? Okay, so we can hear you from Philly, Massachusetts. Hey, Scott. Hey, Lisa in Nashville. Hey, Bryan Adams in Butler, PA. Man, it's great to hear you. Hey, Bryan, tell us about your latest deal. Bryan Adams, guys, is killing it in multifamily. And I am so proud to even know this guy. Like, Bryan, you've got to autograph my cast if I ever break an arm again. I don't know what that means. Hey, Lisa, plant-based too. It's awesome. Jose Falconet says, how can I trust the buyer's lender's pre-approval? Jose, can you ask that a little bit differently? Just ask me again. I think I'm just not being clear here. Vincenzo says, do you factor in depreciation into your cash flow, or do you leave it out to do recapture? Yeah, I don't factor it in. What are the right questions to ask a lawyer when discussing tax benefits? I would call Warren Tarl. By the way, I don't get paid by Warren, but it's Taryle, Tarl Accounting in Phoenix. He might charge you. He charged me, but he gave me some great tax advice, and I've made probably tens, maybe hundreds of thousands. I've saved actually in taxes from listening to him over the last 5 years. Mian says, multifamily. Okay. So plant-based nurse says, what do you think of, I thought you were going to say turkey. And I was going to say, I had some on Thanksgiving. Turnkey. I've been following a popular YouTube person that I recently found out was not so honest. I'm sorry. Now I'm a little reluctant to trust a turnkey company. Should I try it myself? There are some turnkey companies I've heard, and one of our fellow BiggerPockets people is Memphis Invest, and I've heard they're great. There are also some other other turnkey providers who are great. Go see it in person. Go meet them in person. Look in their eyes, and if you get a gut feel that something's wrong, I promise you, even if you could have made a lot of profit, run the heck away. Listen to your gut. There are people who say their gut doesn't work. I'm not a fan at all, by the way, of George Soros. I really don't like his some things that he's done, but he is a phenomenal investor, and he goes almost completely on gut feel. I'm sure he does analysis too. He couldn't have made the billions he's made, but he goes almost completely on gut feel. Trust your gut and look in their eyes, and don't invest in anything without seeing it in person, driving the 1, 3, and 5 mile radius. Take a couple days. It's worth it. If you're going to put in $50,000, make sure you've checked it out carefully. Israel Santiago says, what's the CPA's name? Warren, Warren, Tarl, Taryle. And there are other great CPAs, including people who are on BiggerPockets. And because I'm trying to do the flow of this, I could give you the name and number of some other people as well, but I'll get back to you on that. Robert Aguero says, hello from Fort Myers. Hello. Scott, thank you for still loving the lamp. This lamp is not for sale. Sorry. It's probably not worth as much as it looks like. It is really cool. Hey, Doug, go Bucks. Jimbo, I know I'm in Akron. I was going to use them, but I pulled the plug too. I missed something along the way. I think I probably wanted to miss it. I probably don't want to read some of the comments here. But I have heard some turnkey people have been really, really unhappy. Yeah, that's Warren Tarl CPA. Thank you, Tomato. Glenn Paulson says, helping Lisa ask twice. Lisa Maturo Carrick, feeling hesitant to buy anything right now in my hometown of Phoenix area. Lisa, I didn't intentionally miss your question. Nervous to buy anything with the market right now. How do you get past the fear of it being a bad time to buy? Lisa, thank you, Glenn. I really appreciate it. Lisa, it might be your gut telling you it is a bad time to buy. Now, Phoenix, by the way, has a small area that has a huge growth coming, and they have like 3 companies who are doing huge expansions there. If you can get in near that, you're probably going to be in good shape. So that would be my advice, Lisa. How do you get over the fear, though? I don't know. Does anybody else have any advice for Lisa? Thanks, Glenn. I don't know how to get over the fear, because that fear might be right. And we're getting in kind of the metaphysical thing here, but I would pray and meditate and look for peace. And I'm not really sure what else to tell you. Hey, Jacob from Smith Mountain Lake. I don't have a great answer. I'm going to keep thinking about that. How do you get over the fear? I'd like to hear it. How did you all get over the fear? Tell Lisa, and I'll try to read your answers. But I am running out of time here. It's 5:35 Eastern. I'm going to try to wrap it up in 10 minutes. How can we vet buyers? I don't know. V. Calvio 17. Brian Hunter, how can we vet buyers? Do a criminal background check on them. It can be as little as $10. Sometimes those are really wrong, though. Check their credit score. Look in their eyes. Get a gut feel. Glenn says, good answer on fear. Try to determine where the fear is from. Yeah, I like that. Colton Pierce. Hey, Paul, any advice for Salt Lake City investor interested in small multifamilies? Colton, I don't have any advice. If you can find any in Salt Lake City, it's booming right now. My goodness, Utah, is that the number one state for growth? If you can find anything, that'd be awesome. I love Salt Lake City. It's a beautiful place too. Bryan, what's the best way to incentivize a realtor to work with new wholesalers who aren't doing many deals yet? Give them a bonus. So give them the 3% on the front end, but give them an extra 1%, maybe 1.5%, especially if you're early on. They'll be calling you before they call others. Okay, I'm going to go into fast mode here now where I'm going to buzz through a whole bunch of questions, and I don't know if I'll get through all these. So V. Cavillo says it is okay to ask for earnest money up front from a cash buyer. Absolutely. Yeah, put it in the contract. Yes. Greg Wilford says, good. How to find a good neighborhood, where to buy. Use Neighborhood Scout. Did I tell you guys how amazing BiggerPockets is? I feel like the Truman Show. Did you guys see the wife of the Truman Show? She's always advertising products. BiggerPockets Pro membership has something called Neighborhood Scout. Neighborhood Scout has amazing ability to help you define and dissect a good neighborhood from a bad one. That's the best thing I can tell you. You can also use Google Maps, Google Earth, all kinds of other tools out there, but Neighborhood Scout is a good one. Dallas the Realtor, Dion Britton, Dallas, Texas. Hello. Michael says, can you purchase, rehab, then refi? Purchase, rehab, then refi. Yes. Robert Aguirre says, vets, we have the VA loan, just need the closing cost. I might be missing something in this stream here. Sorry. Ruben says, I found a great deal, but the seller doesn't want to owner finance. What can I do? I don't qualify for a mortgage loan right now. Ruben, try to find a partner. Try to find somebody who you can meet, who believes in you, who will finance that for you. I've been a financier for local flips here in my area. I don't do that anymore, but I had great experiences doing that with other people. Okay. I have a house that's paid off now. How do I get money to buy other properties? Do a home equity line. That's my best quick answer. James Hill says, what's the best way to buy a trailer park? There are commercial brokers who just deal in trailer parks, and I don't know who they are, but start digging around the commercial brokers and lenders in your area. Emmanuel says, I try that mentor thing, but the person seems to think I'm after him for his money. I'm a truck driver, so I don't have a lot of free time. I'm from PA, and I'm in Toledo, Ohio right now. I've been in both those places. You need to find a different mentor because, you're the one paying them. I totally get what you're saying, but Alpes says, take the equity on it. Zach Miller, I can buy deals all day long where I live. What? But they're in C- neighborhoods. Oh, with higher turnover and lower rents. Should I invest there or be more selective? Zach, if you want my opinion, I would be more selective. People are making a killing in those areas. I just don't want the hassle. Go listen to my podcast. It's called How to Lose Money. And a lot of it's called How to Lose Money, seriously. And a lot of the stories are from people who have bought in C areas. They got a great deal, and it turned into a nightmare. So how do we know whether we have a good deal or not? Get a mentor. I'm sorry. Andrew Osborne, hello. When we make money through real estate, do we need to report this to the IRS? Yes. Elvis says, hello from Phoenix, investing in Milwaukee. I run off financing the usual basic channels and looking for private investors. Can you refer me to a few? I don't know, Elvis. I would say go to hard money loans. Go look for hard money to start with, and then start looking in your local real estate meetup groups. Michael Perry, can you purchase a multi-unit with down payment or all cash, then rehab it, and then do a cash out refi if you have no employment income? Yeah, you can. And the hard money lenders can help with that, although it's very expensive. Stacy Garrick says, I live in New York City and want to retire as soon as possible. I would like to buy a multifamily in a B or C class area. Do you think about real estate in New York City? Should I invest in another city? I've got 20,000. Stacy, I would recommend that you consider investing passively. It's a lot safer with $20,000, and that's just my opinion. I hope I didn't offend anybody. Zach Miller, hey, Paul, Ohio. Hey, IRS, it's better to invest in commercial property. VCavio17, I don't understand the question, but if you want to just re-ask it, that's cool. Doswell Beats, I have a house that's paid off. I'm trying to get into real estate. I was thinking about how I can get money out of that house to buy other properties. Home equity loan, yeah. Is wholesaling the best way to get into real estate at the age of 23? Wholesaling is a great way to get in. Another great way to get in is lease option sandwiches, or they're called something else, but lease option or rent to own sandwich. I'm sorry, I don't have time to explain that right now. You can Google that. Dan, or look on BiggerPockets, or ask the question on BiggerPockets. Mian Pierre says, do you recommend spending thousands on those real estate courses? Be really careful who you spend the money with. There's a way to spend thousands, and Whitney Sewell, if he's still on, can tell you how not to do it and how to do it. Colton says, opinion on first lien HELOCs for paying down a mortgage, then using it to put down on deals. Absolutely. Yes. Jose says, how can I ensure the buyer's pre-approval is worth their salt? I called the loan officer saying they are strong, but was told they were only verbally screamed by another office worker. Yeah, that's a good question. I think maybe just ask them to put down a non-refundable deposit and see if they run. Try that. Even $500, $1,000. Say, look, if you don't close, I keep this money. You can negotiate anything you want. It's a free country, right? Arizona Life says, I'm trying to get a refinance lender to get equity out of the investment properties in Arizona and need a personal loan for $100,000 because I'm getting ready to buy a 30-unit complex. Oh, man, I don't know how to help you. If anybody can help, you can answer on the YouTube side. Legan saying, is it a good idea to buy a $50,000 house in order to achieve a high ROI? It can be. It can be, and I know what you mean, as long as it's not in a C or terrible area. There's a turnkey company in Toledo, Ohio. The owner was a guest on one of BiggerPockets podcasts. Oh, I think I know that one. Can't remember. Is Rent-A-Meter reliable for rento comps? Yes, but you should also run this through property managers and realtors, since you asked about those three. Nick White, okay, retracted it. Oh, man, was it something I said? Vapala T-Dot is getting a real estate license a good idea to put myself ahead with real estate investing? It can be. I did it. It can also hurt you. It can also make people, because you have to disclose it to everybody. So I'm not sure. Ayana Bullock says, Stacy, I'm in New York City. I might be able to help. That's great. Jeremiah says, for MREI, the best system software to use for skip tracing to receive the owner's phone number. I don't know. If anybody knows, you can answer. Bugsy says, what to do? What would anybody do if they were getting involved today? If you're getting involved in real estate today, I'd find a mentor. That's just what I think. Scott says, if so, how do I get in touch with you? Would you mentor? Oh, yeah. So, Scott, thank you for the question. I don't mentor anybody. I don't have time right now. Wellings Capital, my company, is launching a new set of 2 real estate funds, and we do not have any mentoring opportunities. So I'm sorry. If you reach out to me on BiggerPockets, I'll try to tell you a few great mentors, or I'll just tell you now. So Whitney Sewell says Joe Fairless is a great mentor. I paid $25,000 for 37th Parallel to mentor me. Another great mentor on BiggerPockets is Michael Blank. That's spelled Blank. Colton says, hope to meet you someday. Thank you. Ayana says, no, he didn't mean stocks. He meant like rental income of the part. Man, you guys are so far ahead of me. With the current trend, do you put 2 long terms in a duplex or 1 long term and 1 Airbnb in a hot market? CS asks, I would do a long term rental and then plug it in with Airbnb. Al Williamson is a friend of mine, and he's got an amazing Airbnb landlord course. He will teach you to invest using, to put corporate long-term tenants in your property and then plug in the gaps with Airbnb. In answer to your question, I would say yes. I would put a 1 long-term and 1 Airbnb. Okay, I'm almost getting done here. Moshi, hello. Jose says, it's a traditional strategy for investors selling a property to waive the buyer's finance contingency. I'm going to have to read it slower. Sorry. Jose, is the traditional strategy for investors selling a property to waive the buyer's finance contingency to reduce risk? It would seem that would increase the time on the market. Jose, can you ask it again? Sorry. Peo Laura says, I have a lot of debt to pay off my house. Has equity? What's the best strategy to pay off debt with the house? Okay, I don't know. You can just get a home equity line and then use that money to pay off other debts. I mean, that's if it's higher interest debt for sure, like a credit card debt at 18%. You can get a HELOC for 5, 6, 7%. Yeah, that's what I would do. Okay. Ayana Bullock says, what's the Airbnb contact? Is he on BiggerPockets? Can you reach out to me on BiggerPockets? His name's Al Williamson, and I think it's called leadinglandlord.com or Airbnb. Hey, Google Airbnb landlord, Al Williamson, Sacramento, California. He's got an awesome course, and it's not expensive. Timmy says, did you know a good turnkey provider in Ohio? I don't. Lisa, how do you feel about investing in condos? Great. What's the man's name again that has the Airbnb course? Okay, I think I've given that out twice. Al Williamson. Timmy, hello from New Jersey. Okay, I'm going to try to answer a few more. Israel, thank you. You're welcome, and thank you. Jose says, it's a traditional strategy for investors selling a property. Jose, you're smart, man. You're putting on both sides here. Michelle, is there any way to borrow against residential commercial land while trying to find a buyer? Yeah, you can get a 65% loan, Michelle, sometimes for the land. My son's flipping land left and right, and he's getting 65% loans. A lot of them come from local credit unions or local loans, like a local lender. Title company versus attorney, Tommy, no good answer on that. It could be either. VA versus FHA. If you can get a VA loan and you qualify, I've heard it might be a good idea. Jose says, basically, do us investors just trust the retail buyers pre-approval on a regular basis? I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I'm a really trusting guy, and usually I do. So you found it. Okay, CS says, cool. Al Williamson, leading landlord. Tommy says, title. Okay. All right, I'm going to answer a few more on BiggerPockets because I've been horribly negligent here for you guys. Ohio, yes. Okay. Michael says, have you ever invested in Arizona? No. If you have, would you recommend condos rather than single-family homes? I think I would. Even though I haven't done it. I think that condos would be a great thing to do in Arizona because it's more retirement community. And if I retire to Arizona, I'm going to be getting a condo or townhome. Will says, hey, what's up? Can you recommend any banks doing HELOCs on rentals? Guys, there's a whole bunch of banks out there that do HELOCs. And some of them, I would start with credit unions. Okay, so I've used credit unions and local banks with great success. Okay, hope that helps. Michael says, I think fear helps you get better deals. Well, yeah, I think that's like not something I would have thought to say, but it helps you avoid bad deals. I would say that. Do the numbers get you? Do the numbers to get over the fear, Trent says. Great answer. That's absolutely right. And I wish I'd have said that. So Paul Moore says, do the numbers to get over the fear. I just thought of that. That was a joke, guys. Come on. It's Friday. What? It's Monday, so let's have some fun. Friday. Branding your flips, a good idea. Yes. If you start doing a lot of flips, start getting branded. I'm getting slap happy here, guys. It's too late. Money, is probate deals a good investment route for newbies? It can be. It can be. I don't have time to get into that. Do subject to deals work in Georgia? I don't know. Somebody else can answer that. I do know they work in Virginia, where I am. Michelle Sidney, thank you. This is my first time here. Hey, shout out to Michelle Sidney. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're all here. Tomato, thank you for all your help answering these questions over here. And you have just been super helpful sending the Airbnb landlord links. Shout out to Tomato. Is it tomato? I don't know. You say tomato. I say tomato. Okay, this is getting bad. Okay, Zack, if Zack hasn't fired me yet from BiggerPockets, I'm going to be back to you later this week. It's almost Hanukkah and Christmas and New Year's and all that. So we're going to be having a lot of fun together in the next few weeks. But thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much for joining me here on BiggerPockets Live, YouTube Live, Facebook Live. And if you have land for sale, Michelle, in Virginia, yes, you can contact me. My son is buying land in Virginia, large, huge mountain tracts of land, 20 acres, 100 acres, 300 acres. Reach out to me. My name's Paul Moore. I'm with Wellings Capital. We have 2 real estate funds. I do blogging on BiggerPockets. I do a podcast called How to Lose Money. And one of my very favorite things is to be with you here on BiggerPockets live stream. Thanks so much. Thanks to BiggerPockets. Thanks to Zack Gwynn for setting this up. And shout out to everybody in BiggerPockets. We love you. Love all you guys as well. Look forward to seeing you again. Thanks. Bye.